Welcome to the Community Services Connection Podcast, an informative podcast for those who live, work, and play in our paradise. We're covering everything from recreation and pools, libraries and history, parks and natural resources, and the UF-IFAS Extension Office of Charlotte County. Today on the podcast with me, I have our coastal management team, Alexandria, Susie. Thank you so much for being on here today.
Thank you for having us.
Tell me a little bit about what you do.
So other than shorebirds and sea turtles, we'll do bald eagle monitoring for eagle watch through Audubon. We'll also do horseshoe crab watch, horseshoe crab surveys, and then we'll also actually help Sea Grant out with seagrass surveys as well.
How did you get into this?
I studied biology at UCF while I was at college, and I tried as much as possible to do as much marine biology courses and research as I could to get as much background as I could because I was always told, the more background and experience you have, the better time you'll have trying to go further in your career.
And I have a marine biology degree from Florida Atlantic University on the East Coast, and my initial work was with sea turtles at Palm Beach County. And so I got very involved with sea turtles and have just loved it and done it ever since, pretty much.
Well, I know our community feels like we are really lucky to have you both. Every time we share just the smallest tidbit of information about the sea turtles, everybody loves it. So what are some of the highlights from this year? I know we had a lot of hatchlings.
We did, actually, and this was a really high year for our county sea turtle number-wise. Our numbers are still trickling in, and we are still waiting for our end-of-year reports from our monitors, but it looks like right now we're at about 2,100 nests. And I know our trend is continually going up, even though the next couple years we might see the amount of nests to go down. Our trend is always going to be.
Yeah, sea turtle nesting cycles every 3 years, and so this year was the high year, and then the next 2 years will drop down, but it tends to always trend up and the numbers increase each cycle. So
that's great. Is there anything that the public can be doing to help those trends continue to go up?
Definitely. Public involvement and public participation just by things you do at the beach is probably the best effort that you can put forth, especially for those people that live on the beach. Sea turtles are affected by light, so a lot of our educational outreach and also our permitting requirements for development on the beach require certain types of lighting and window tint on their windows to help reduce the amount of light on the beach. So those people that live there know exactly what they're supposed to do to help with turtles with the lighting. But as a visitor, you can also really help our sea turtles, especially those people that visit our beach and rent on the beach. When you're staying in a unit, closing your blinds at night is very, very helpful. It reduces the amount of light that shines onto the beach and helps with our sea turtles be able to orient themselves and find the way to the water. When the nesting females come up and also when the hatchlings emerge, they need to find their way to the water. When you're on the beach, it's fun to build sandcastles and dig holes, but make sure before you leave that day, you knock down those sandcastles, you fill in those holes because they can trap not only females climbing up to nest on the beach, but also the small little 1-inch hatchlings that are trying to make themselves to the water. Keep your pets off the beach. That's another. I know we like to bring our pets on vacation, but especially during nesting season, it's not the best place to have your dogs. They see the dogs as predators. It can prohibit in nesting from our shorebirds. They can dig up the sea turtle nests that actually are buried in the ground. And always dispose of your trash and remove all personal objects when you leave from the beach because they can become obstacles at night for sea turtles that are on the beach.
How about the people who are coming here on vacation and may not know? Maybe they don't have sea turtles, where they're from. And they come here for an evening walk on the beach and innocently take out a flashlight. Can we talk about the dangers of that? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that there is harm in the evening walk on the beach.
Yeah, so actually a lot of people think that sea turtles can't see red light, and that's why people in FWC are always recommending the amber bulbs. And sometimes you'll see around sea turtle season some flashlights. They'll come out that say sea turtle approved flashlights, and they'll just have a red bulb in it, and it may or may not actually be an approved flashlight. So we have unfortunately come across people that have done evening walks on the beach or night walks on the beach because it's way cooler. A lot less people on the beach too. And a lot of people actually will go out at night to fish. And so a lot of them will have like the headlamps with the flashlights on.
Right.
So something that we ran into this year and was a lot of the fishermen on the beach, but most of them were only turning on their lamps when they were looking for something. Still don't really want to do that. No flashlights, period. As much as you want to take a picture of these animals, you want to, really see what they're doing. It is really exciting, but it does scare them. It deters them from nesting. It can disorient the hatchlings and even adults. It's really hard to disorient adults, but it does happen. Mm-hmm. And we actually had a turtle this year end up on somebody's front porch. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we always recommend no flashlights, no cell phones. Use your cell phone as a flashlight. No cell phone lights, no video camera flashes or lights. It definitely is very detrimental to the sea turtles. I always recommend if you want to go for a stroll, let's wait until the moon's out.
Right.
Yep.
It's amazing what you can see with a nice bright moon.
Yeah, and if you give your eyes just 10 minutes to adjust, it's like you're out on the beach with a flashlight. It can get really bright, and you actually see more that way too, and it's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm. So I know right now we're talking about the dangers of using a flashlight, and we're having the opportunity to educate anybody who's listening on the dangers, but what is the reaction when you tell somebody at night, or when you say, hey, you can't have a light on the beach right now? Are they upset? Is there a way that we as a community can help educate people?
For the most part with sea turtles, once you explain to them the reason why, I find them to be pretty understanding, and they will turn off the light. So I don't think we've ever come across where people are begrudging about it. Once they know it's to protect the sea turtles, they will comply.
And once they know about all of the awesome work that we're doing, so that's why I wanted to ask you, what are we working on? What exciting projects do we have coming up?
One thing that we always work on every year prior to season is our education material. We definitely like to get the word out there about all the different things that people can do to help the sea turtles. And of course, the rules and regulations on what they have to follow. So we always update our educational material. We like to attend workshops to educate people, different festivals. We create goodie bags full of educational paraphernalia. Like one thing we came up with this year were our doggy bags. We're going to be handing them out if we do see someone with a dog on the beach. We like to educate them on why it's best not to bring their dog, but also leave them with a little reminder, that, hey, use this, pick up your dog's waste, but it has a little tag on it. It's going to say how to be wildlife friendly. So little things like that we do. We're really excited about that one.
We attended the 4th annual lighting pollution workshop at the UF Hilton back in December. We were invited by FWC and the Archie Carr Sea Turtle Research Center to go present there. And we did a presentation on the challenges, successes, and actions that Charlotte County has done to help our sea turtles with the lighting pollution issues that we have had. Because, we've worked so hard to get our beaches where they are with sea turtles, and the amount of disorientations and code violations that we have is significantly less every single year. So clearly somebody was paying attention and was like, hey. So, but one thing we did notice this year is even though on our beaches and like a bunch of our residents and condo associations have really worked hard to, all their windows and light fixtures are appropriate, all their bulbs are getting there. We have sky glow issues from private airports and even big cities like Venice. And unfortunately, you can't just tell a big city like Venice, hey, can you turn off your lights between these months? So that's an ongoing issue we're constantly working with. So, and then we do workshops with Sea Turtle Conservancy and the Minnesota Sandpiper Key Association, because especially post Ian, a lot of these condo associations and the people who live on the beach are wanting to rebuild. So they like when we come out and do those types of workshops, because then their residents get educated on what they need. So that way the code process and, the permitting process is a lot easier, because things like that pop up and a lot of people aren't aware of that. So, and that is another thing also. Charlotte County has a public GIS layer, or no, not layer, but feature that is available to the whole public. And one thing that we really appreciate on there is the sea turtle lighting zone layer on it, because the people who do live on the coast if they're curious or they're thinking about doing any sort of construction or any add-ons or anything, and they're like, well, let me just see if I'm in this zone real quick. It'll give them a heads up, like,
Right.
okay, maybe I need to pay more attention to what I'm doing with my windows, my doors, any electrical that you're putting outside. So we like to have that open to the public as well.
The few times I've been out on the beach with you both, people come up to you and say, "What are you doing?" They're so curious about the work that you do. So tell me a little bit about your day, start to finish. How early are you on the beach? Are you there before all the beachgoers get there?
Usually we like to start our day, after sunrise, of course, so we can see. And also start it early when it's cool. Nesting seasons from May 1st, October 31st. Hottest time of the year. So It's good to get out there early. We have contracted sea turtle monitors that actually will go out and do the nest marking every morning. We have a group of dedicated volunteers who are wonderful. And they're actually out there, the ones out there locating the nest, staking the nest, documenting the nest. As Charlotte County staff, we do a lot of requirements for our beach renourishment permit. So basically, we're gathering the data to help support the requirements of our permits for the state and federal agencies. So when we go out there, we're documenting and GPSing all the nests. So we get a spatial data of how many nest, where they're nesting, and information like that to provide to our the coastal engineer group that works for our renourishment. So we are pretty much out there GPSing nests once a week on every beach in Charlotte County.
Wow.
Which is a lot of beaches. We have Manasota Key. We have Palm Island, Night, Don Pedro, Little Gasparilla Island, and Boca, North Boca. So that is a lot of what we do on the beach. But we are not only there protecting our sea turtles, but we also are there protecting our nesting birds. We have a shorebird and seabird population that nest on our beaches also. So the other part of our job is to protect them. But we are out there actually physically staking off and posting our nesting areas. Shorebird and seabirds nest right on the beach. And as you can see, it's going to be definitely a hazard for them with beachgoers, animals. So we have to identify the areas and protect them where they're nesting. So that is another big part of our job.
Do you tape off where the nests are for the birds, like the same way that you do for the turtles?
Yeah, it's very similar, but it's a much larger area because our nesting seabirds actually nest in colonies. And here in our county, we can have anywhere from, a small number to up to 150 nests in an area. So it's a very large area that we're staking off. And for those of you that go to the beach probably have noticed, Stump Pass, Night Island, Palm Island area, and Boca, we have large staked off areas for our seabirds. Then we have shorebirds, which nest solitary, so they actually have a small nest. And if we're lucky, they nest in the middle of the colony, so we don't have to stake off those individually. But they are directly on the beach, so they have to be protected from people, beachgoers.
So is the nesting season the same as sea turtles?
It's very similar. It's a little earlier and ends a little early. It's February 15th through August 31st.
Okay.
So they do overlap.
Gotcha.
Yes, but all during the summer.
Well, while I still have you both here, I thought it'd be fun to play a little game because like I said, anytime that we put out any kind of news from you highlighting sea turtles and the progress that you're making, the community is so interested. So I thought it'd be fun to share some fun facts and play a little true or false. So first up, sea turtles cannot see red light. And I think Lexi mentioned this earlier in the podcast. So if you were listening, you would know that
That's actually false. So sea turtles actually can see red light. It isn't, it's a wavelength that doesn't affect them as much as the other light wavelengths that we know of. So the long wavelength lighting is actually less disruptive than white light is to sea turtles. But even long wavelength lighting that is too bright may cause impacts to sea turtles and their hatchlings. Therefore, we always recommend using the lowest wattage or lumen bulbs.
awesome. All right. Are we ready for the next one?
Ready.
Hatchlings need a full moon when they emerge from their nests.
And that is false. Hatchlings can emerge at all phases of the moon. So The good thing about the full moon is that it when the full moon's out, they tend to disorient less because it's a brighter light and the hatchlings navigate towards the light. So